Have you ever gazed up at the stars on a clear night, feeling a sense of wonder, a sense of something far greater than yourself? In that vast, silent expanse, you can almost feel a whisper of the beginning. It's a story that starts not with a bang, but with a presence, a being of infinite complexity and perfect simplicity. This was a God who, in his very nature, was complete, whole, and utterly He existed before time, before space, before anything we could possibly comprehend. Imagine a reality of pure love, perfect community, and unending joy, all contained within the Godhead Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There was no need, no lack, only a perfect, overflowing abundance of life itself. This is where our story begins, not in a void of nothingness, but in the heart of a God who is, and always has been, love. And from this fullness, this creative energy, came a desire to share. This was a God who, in his very nature, was full of life, power, and purpose. With a word, he painted the cosmos. Light shattered the darkness. Galaxies swirled into existence like cosmic brushstrokes, and stars were scattered across the void like diamonds on black velvet. He spoke, and planets found their orbits, moons their paths. He sculpted the earth, raising mountains that pierced the clouds and carving valleys where rivers would flow like veins of life. He filled the oceans with creatures of every shape and size, from the colossal whale to the tiniest, most intricate shell. The air was filled with the songs of birds, their wings catching the currents he designed. Forests rose up, lush and green, teeming with life. Every detail, from the pattern on a butterfly's wing to the mighty roar of a lion, was a testament to his artistry, his power, his magnificent imagination. It was a world bursting with vibrant life, a symphony of creation where every part played its role in perfect harmony, all reflecting the glory of its creator. And in the masterpiece of this new world, he reserved his finest work for last. He created humanity in his image, not just as another creature to roam the earth, but as something more. He formed the first man, Adam, from the very dust of the ground he had made, and breathed his own breath of life into him. And from Adam he fashioned Eve. They were reflections of him, designed for relationship, creativity, and stewardship. They were given minds to think, hearts to feel, and a will to choose. They walked with God in the cool of the day, in a garden paradise called Eden. Their relationship with him was direct, unfiltered, and beautiful. They were given dominion over all the earth, not as tyrants, but as loving caretakers, tending the garden and living in harmony with all of creation. This was the pinnacle of his creative act. Beings who could know him, love him, and share in the joy of his creation. It was a perfect beginning, a world without sorrow, without fear, without shame. But humanity turned away. In the freedom they were given, a choice was made, a choice to listen to a different voice, a voice of doubt and deception, a choice to believe that there was something more to be gained outside of God's goodness, that his commands were not for their protection, but for their restriction. And with that single act of disobedience, everything changed. The perfect connection was broken. The harmony was shattered. Shame and fear entered the human heart for the first time. They hid from the very presence that had once been their greatest joy. The ground that had freely given its fruit would now yield it only through toil and sweat. The perfect harmony between man and woman, and between humanity and creation, became fractured by conflict and pain. This moment, often called the fall, sent ripples through all of history. It was the introduction of brokenness, of death, and of separation from the source of all life. Humanity was now adrift, lost in a world that was still beautiful, but now marred by shadow and struggle. Yet his nature never changed. Even in the face of rebellion, even as he watched his beloved creation turn from him, the core of who he is remained constant. His heart was not one of vengeance, but of sorrow. It was the heart of a father, watching his children wander into danger. His love wasn't a fragile thing that could be broken by human failure. It was, and is, an eternal, unchanging anchor. While humanity was now veiled in darkness, struggling under the weight of their choice, God's light was not extinguished. His plan was not thwarted. Even as he pronounced the consequences of their actions, he also gave the first glimmer of a promise, a whisper of a future hope, a hope that one day, the very serpent who had deceived them would be crushed. He watched over humanity, never abandoning them completely, his compassion weaving through the unfolding story of history like a thread of gold in a darkened tapestry, always working, always planning, always lobing so God came near. He didn't just shout instructions from a distance or send messages through intermediaries. He chose to enter our broken world himself. He became one of us. This is the story of Jesus. Born not in a palace, but in a humble stable, he lived a life that was a perfect reflection of God's heart. He walked to the dusty roads of ancient Israel, and in him, people saw something they had never seen before. They saw a God who wasn't distant or angry, but a God who was gentle, compassionate, and present. He touched the untouchable, healed the sick, and ate with those who society had cast aside. He told stories, parables that revealed the nature of God. "Es kingdom our kingdom where the last are. First, and the poor in spirit are blessed." He offered forgiveness to the guilty and rest to the weary. In every action, in every word, Jesus was showing us the true face of God. He was God in the flesh, demonstrating that God's love isn't just a concept, but an active, pursuing, and personal reality. He came to bridge the chasm that we had created, to bring God and humanity back together. And to complete that bridge, he gave everything. The path of love led him to a hill called Calvary. The ultimate act of God's nearness required the ultimate sacrifice. Jesus, the one who was without any sin, who had lived a life of perfect love and obedience, willingly took upon himself the full weight of all human brokenness, all our rebellion, all our pain. He was nailed to a wooden cross, a brutal instrument of execution. But this was not a defeat. It was the climax of God's rescue plan. On that cross, justice and mercy met. The consequences of our turning away were paid in full, not by us, but by the very God we had turned from. In this one profound act, he absorbed all the darkness, all the separation, so that we could be free from it. As the sun set on that Friday, it seemed like all hope was lost. But what looked like the greatest tragedy in history was, in fact, the greatest victory. It was the ultimate demonstration of a love that holds nothing back. Because of that sacrifice, death did not have the final say. 3 days later, the tomb was empty. Jesus rose from the dead, conquering sin and death once and for all. And in his resurrection, a new dawn broke for all of humanity. Hope was not just a distant dream. It was now a living reality. This is the heart of the story. Redemption, it's the story of second chances, of new beginnings. It's the truth that no matter how far we've wandered, no matter how broken we feel, the path back to God is open. It's a path paved by his love and secured by his sacrifice. This is a God whose very nature is love, not a fleeting, conditional love, but a relentless, sacrificial, and unconditional love. A love that saw our brokenness and didn't turn away, but entered into it to make us whole. It's an invitation to everyone, everywhere, to step out of the shadows and into the warmth of his light, to be reconciled, to be restored, to be brought home. This is the story, from beginning to end. It's the story of a God who is love. Thank you so much for journeying through this story with us today. If this message touched your heart, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that explores the depths of faith and the beauty of God's love. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Peace be with you.